Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. If I sound sick, it's because I am a little sick. I have been sick for the past few days, but I'm slowly getting over it, and I'm feeling a little bit better today, which is why I decided to film a video. The mid-year book freakout tag is a video that I do every single year, and I've been doing it, I think, either since the very beginning of my channel or like pretty soon right after I started. I did this tag, and it's something that everyone usually does around this time of the year. It's a way to kind of just like check in on like all the books that you read in the first like half of the year and reflect on what your favorites have been, what your least favorites have been, and any books that you want to read for the upcoming 6 months of the year. So for me, I have only actually read 17 books so far this year, which is like not that great. I wish it was more, but I'm hoping that in the rest of the summer I can really try to focus on reading. I think that now more and more I'm like wasting a lot of time on my phone, like just scrolling through social media or TikTok. So either like I'll try to like cut down on that. Like I see people do those videos that are like switching out their screen time for reading time. I might like try that sometime and see how much reading I can actually get done. But yeah, I need to work on like cutting back on my screen time a little bit and use that to read, because it really is like taking away from my reading time. Anyways, that's a very long-winded way of saying that I haven't really read as much as I wanted to, but today I'll still be talking about some of the books that I've read in the past 6 months of the year. So this tag has like a total of 15 questions, so I'm just gonna be going over the questions. So the first question is the best book that you've read so far in the year, and for me this is a book of an author that is one of my favorites, so it was really no surprise that I really loved this book, and that is A Chord of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This one is like a continuation of the A Chord of Thorns and Roses series. It's not exactly like that fourth book, because like that one's like a trilogy. It's not like the fourth book, it's more of like a spin-off trilogy that's like the same, it's a continuation of the same story, but it follows a mainly different main characters. The characters that used to be side characters in the original trilogy are like the main characters now in this book. So A Chord of Silver Flame follows Nesta and Cassian. Nesta is Feyre's sister from A Chord of Thorns and Roses, and Cassian is one of the Fae of that book as well, and it mainly follows them, and Nesta is dealing with a lot of trauma and is healing from that after the war that happened in the original trilogy. So it's mainly a book about her character development. I really loved this book, even though this book doesn't have a lot of plot, just because it focuses a lot on Nesta's healing and just her working through her trauma and everything. I think that it was still a much needed book, in the sense that like it talked about things that usually aren't a big focus of fantasy books. I think it's good that after a lot of like action-packed, like really high intense books, I think it's good that Sarah J. Maas took the time to write a book where a character is taking the time they need to really take a pause and try to learn and heal. And because of that, I think that this one is one of my favorites of hers. I just really loved it. I have no idea when the second book for that is coming out, but hopefully soon, because I want to see what happens next. But the second one is the best sequel I've read so far in 2023. So having read only like 17 books, I haven't read like a ton of sequels. But the only sequel that comes to mind is, of course, Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. This is the third and final book to the Last Hours trilogy, which follows the children of the main characters of the Infernal Devices. I can't really say too much about this book because it is the third book and it's the last book of a trilogy, so it would be giving away a lot of spoilers and everything if I talked about it. But as of course I love Cassandra Clare so much, and it was not a surprise that I loved this as well. My true rating of this is like a 4.5, not like a full 5 stars, but I think that the cast of characters in the Last Hours trilogy is one of my favorites out of all her series. And because of that, this whole like reading experience for the Last Hours has been so enjoyable. A lot of the characters' dynamic and their friendship and relationships had already been kind of set before their introduction in the first book. Like a lot of them had already like known each other before like we got to know them. But I think that because of their familiarity with each other, I think the way that they interacted was just so great, and we could see how comfortable they were with each other and knew each other so well. So I think that that's the reason why I think like the whole dynamic of all the characters together and them interacting is just one of my favorites. I will say the end was like a little bit like, I feel like everything wrapped up a little bit too neatly and too quickly for my liking, but overall I think this was a fantastic trilogy, and I'm so sad and excited for the Wicked Powers, which is hopefully coming sometime soon. The third question is a new release that you haven't read yet but really want to, and for this one I'm picking a super anticipated release for a lot of people, and there was a lot of popularity around it, and that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is her third like adult rom-com that she's put out, or actually this is her fourth. Yeah, this is her fourth adult rom-com, and those have been very popular, like Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers, and I've read all of them and I really enjoyed them, so I'm really excited to see what I think of Happy Place. I will say this one is, I think, has a lot of mixed reviews, and I'm kind of scared because like a lot of people either really love it or like they don't really like it at all compared to the other ones. And what's interesting is that a lot of people really loved Book Lovers, which I didn't as much. I thought the other ones were better. So like I don't know if there's a correlation between like if people like Book Lovers and not this, or didn't like it, but I'm just hoping that I like it, and I don't think I'm gonna hate it. And I think like a lot of people read it and said that it was really relatable in some ways. So just, I hope I like it, and if I don't think I'll like hate it. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to pick this one up soon and get to see what I think of it. The fourth question is, what is your most anticipated release of the second half of the year? And for me, I used to be someone that used to be really into like seeing what's out there for like new releases. I don't really do that anymore. I kind of just see as books come out and what hype they have, or like authors I'm obviously like looking forward to. But two big releases that I have in mind like at the top of my head is, of course, the first one is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This one is a new fantasy series that she's releasing that it has nothing to do with the Shadowhunter universe. This is her first like foray into something completely different and new, so I'm really excited to see what she does with that. A lot of people are saying that this one is like really similar to A Darker Shade of Magic, and I can definitely see like the similarities, but I want to see like after I read it like really see like if like what she really does with the idea. I think this is also her first try into adult novels, because the entire Shadowhunter books are all young adult, I'm pretty sure. Maybe the Red Scrolls of Magic series is adult, but I think other than that everything else is young adult. So because of that, I'm like really interested to see what she does like with the adult genre, so I'm very excited for that one. The other one is a sequel to a book that I just finished literally last night. I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, I think, and that one is really hyped right now, but the sequel is actually coming out late this year, I think in November, and that is Iron Flame. This book has literally been everywhere. Literally everyone is talking about it. It's like has one of the highest ratings I have ever seen on Goodreads for the number of reviews it has, and I think that it's really like fun and addicting, and I'm really excited to see what the sequel has in store. The next question is my biggest disappointment, and for me this one is so sad because I really wanted to like it, but this one is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. So this is my first Sally Rooney book, and I picked it up because Sally Rooney is an author that I've seen literally everywhere with Normal People and Conversations with Friends and all these books that everyone really loves, and there was even a show for one of them, so I was really excited to pick it up. But as soon as I picked it up, I quickly realized that the writing style was not for me at all. I don't know, just the way it's written and the way like the story was executed and everything, I just did not have a good time, and it's one of the first books that I've written or that I've read that I've given 1 stars. I don't give 1 stars often, but I truly gave this book 1 star because I just did not like the writing style at all, and I don't think Sally Rooney is an author for me. I still might pick up Normal People, just to see if it's like the writing style is different in any way, but if it's the same, then I don't think Sally Rooney is an author for me. The next question is, what is the biggest surprise for you so far this year? And for me, this was a book that I got from the library that I have since then returned, and that is Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows by Chord Jaswal. This one I actually fully picked up because I think Kayla from Books and Lala talked about this in a video, in a vlog, and she really liked this book, and the premise of it sounded really interesting to me, so I decided to pick it up from my local library. This one follows this woman, I'm completely forgetting all the names, but this woman, and she really needs a job, and she sees this flyer that is promoting a job for teaching writing to a group of like Punjabi women. And what this class actually is literally teaching them to read and write like the English characters and the letters and like writing and everything. But what she thinks it's like a creative fiction class, like teaching them actually like how to write stories. And then so she starts that, it doesn't really go well, and then one of the women in the group finds this erotic like book of erotic stories, and the women start like talking about it, and they start sharing their own stories. And then the main character, I'm like completely forgetting her name, who is like teaching this class, she realizes that all these Punjabi women, they're like full of stories and desires and wants that they never really got to unleash throughout their lives. So now she's like kind of teaching them how to express themselves in this class. I loved this book so much. Like after reading the premise, I have like an idea that I think I would like this book, but I wasn't really sure if I would end up like liking the writing or the author, since I've never read anything from this author before. But I'm so happy that I really loved this book and all the things that it talked about. As you can like tell from the title, like Erotic Stories from Punjabi Widows, like it's not an erotica, like obviously it's not an erotica, it's like a literary fiction novel. But I feel like it talks about a lot of things like related to like the desire for sex and everything that is usually like kind of toned down and hidden in, especially in like South Asian cultures. But this one I think just talked a lot about that a lot, as well as just general South Asian culture things that I could definitely relate to at times. So I thought that this was a really like well crafted and executed story that I had a lot of fun with. It also had like the perfect balance of handling like deeper topics with lighter scenes and topics as well. So I think it was just a great blend of all of that to create a great story. Question number 7 is your newest favorite author. And for me, this one is an author that I've definitely read from before, but I think it's like solidified now as like an author that I really enjoy, and that is Taylor Jenkins Reid. And the reason I say that is because I read Malibu Rising this year, which I really enjoyed. And previously the books I'd read were Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. And I've really enjoyed all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books so far that I read them. So I think now like it's Taylor Jenkins Reid is an author that's solidified as an author that I'll always look out for, and I'll always try to pick up whatever book that is coming out next. So yeah, I'm really excited to read Carrie Soto is Back, and hopefully it lives up to all the other books that I read from Taylor Jenkins Reid. But I'm really excited for that, and I will probably be picking up all of their books that Taylor Jenkins Reid comes out with in the future. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush, and honestly I haven't really read a book where a character is like swoon worthy or anything. So I usually, like for the past few years, I haven't really had a question or an answer for this question. The next question is your newest favorite character, and for this one I think I'm gonna say Violet Soaringale from Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So this one, as I said, I literally just finished it last night at like 1:30 in the morning. But Violet Soaringale, one of the reasons that I really love her is that I think she has some sort of disability. I don't think it's like really named in this book, but a lot of people say it's like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I think it like causes you to have like weaker joints, and your bones and everything I think are more fragile. And I think because of that, it like made her stronger. And I just love the way that she overcame all the obstacles throughout the book. And because of the disability, a lot of the people around her see her as someone weaker. But she really like tries to prove to everyone that she is as strong as them. And there are a few people that see her like as for who she is, but I think there's a lot of, because she goes to a college, like just a lot of the kids, there's a lot of like teasing about how she's like weaker and everything, but I think she really stands up for herself and tries to prove that she is strong. The next question is a book that made me cry, and I haven't really read any sad books, so I don't really cry in books either, but I haven't really read a particularly sad book this year either, so I don't really have an answer for this question. But the next question is a book that made me happy, and I'm gonna have to say Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros again, because I'm not talking about happy in the sense that like this book is happy and like happy things happen in it, because it's a fantasy book, like a lot of bad things happen in it. There's murder, killing, everything. The reason I say happy is because this one is it's a fantasy novel that I feel like I haven't read in a really long time, like a novel like this. I've said this in other places as well, but this one reminds me a lot of 2012 to 2015 YA, like Sarah J Maas especially for me, with Throne of Glass and Court of Thorns and Roses and Hunger Games and all the YA like fantasy and dystopian that was coming out during that time. And so this made me happy in the sense that it provided a lot of nostalgia for those times, because I really loved that time, because I was entering like the book community and I was like really getting into reading and book collecting as well, like starting this book collection. This started in like around that time, literally like 2013, 2014. So like that time is a really special place in my heart. So I just really loved that it reminded me of that time. So I think that's what I think of like for me when I say this book made me happy, is that like it just made me happy of like the feelings it was giving me of that time. Next question is favorite book to movie adaptation. I don't know if there's been any book to movie adaptation that has come out this year. Personally, I've been watching Shadow and Bone. I'm on season 2 and that's the only thing I've been watching. Other than that, I'm not really sure if there's been any like big movies that have come out like related to a book. I know Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is coming out later this year, which I'm really excited for, so I will definitely be checking that out. So question number 13 is favorite review I've written this year. I don't write reviews like in the written format, like on Goodreads or a blog or anything. All my reviews for books are in like wrap-ups in video format, like on this channel. So I don't know if I have like a particularly like review that I'm proud of or anything, because they're just mixed up in wrap-ups and I don't really do individual reviews. I used to a little bit like years ago, but I feel like they don't get as many. Okay, it is funny because those videos that are individual reviews are the ones that still get views sometimes today, even though they were like 5 years ago. And I think that's because like those people are looking for those reviews after they've read those books, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't really do individual reviews anymore. But question number 14 is the most beautiful book you've bought this year. I haven't hauled this one yet, but I think that it's probably this book isn't particularly like amazingly gorgeous, but I don't really have any other like books that really stood out as like beautiful, and I don't really buy like special editions of books either, because those are the ones that tend to be like really artistically done and everything. But the one that actually this is the most recent book that I just got like a few days ago, and that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. This one is a really, really popular novel that I think won a Goodreads award last year. So, and I've heard like a lot of really great things about this, so I'm really excited for it. But I think just like the rainbow makes me happy, so that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm going with this book. And the last question, which is question 15, is what are books that you're looking forward to reading in the rest of the year? This is different from the new release because it doesn't have to be a new release. There's like a lot of books obviously that I want to read that I haven't read yet that are on my shelf. But the one that comes to mind that has been sitting on my shelf for a little bit, and I can't believe I haven't read it because it's literally from one of my favorite authors. But that is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas. This one is a sequel to the House of Earth and Blood, which is the book 1 of the Crescent City series, which is a new urban fantasy series by Sarah J Maas, and I just haven't read it yet. I think one of the main reasons is because this book is like really, really big. I'm gonna see how many pages it is. But just big books usually take me a while to get to in the first place. Yeah, literally this is 801 pages. So I think the size has just been intimidating to me, which is I think also why it took me so long to read A Chord of Silver Flames. Even though like once I read it, or once I was reading it, I was like flying through it and was really loving it. I think I'll end up being the same for this one, but I think just the size of it is making me intimidated to like even pick it up and start it. But hopefully in the second half of the year I will get to this sometime. Anyways, those are all the books that I will be talking about for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what is your most favorite book and your least favorite book that you've read so far this year, as of course I would love to know. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you next time. Bye.